ممتعة كده ها.
استني بقى.
Okay, thank you, Sarah.
Thank you,
Sandra.
Sarah. حاجة.
Thank you, Sandra and Ramez, for being with us today. And you're going to present Logos Coptic Youth Forum and things that you did in Egypt and share it with us. Thank you, Sandra. Thank you, Ramez.
Thank you, Tom.
Okay. Should we start? Oh no, I'm okay for that.
Yeah,
No food
but
right now?
no. I'm good.
No, I'm okay.
Thank you.
Thank you. We're quick, don't worry.
It's gonna be a quick.
Okay, so we are here to talk about our trip to Egypt, which was the Logos Coptic Youth Forum, Back to the Roots 2020 with the Pope.
Yeah. So this event was from August 21st, from the 20th to the 27th. So it was for 7 days, and the slogan or what the theme of the trip was about love. So everything was focused about love, and we talked about the 5 languages of love, which Sandra will give us some more information on. And this was held actually, like the idea actually started when Pope Tewodros became enthroned as Pope. So Abuna Yusuf, which was the coordinator with us, he was telling us that they originally thought, okay, let's bring the youth and let's go to like a resort or in a really famous hotel or something like that. But Sayyidina said, no, I want to bring the youth to my home. So Logos is actually the residence, the papal residence of the Pope at St. Bishoy's Monastery. So Sayyidina pretty much renovated the place.
He built the whole place.
He built,
Yeah,
exactly.
So it's behind St. Bishoy's Monastery, and it's this whole facility that he built with the intentions when he has people, he's inviting them to his home, and his actual residence is on site.
Exactly. So that was the plan. He said, I'm gonna bring them. And honestly, guys, Logos, that is like, if I tell you a five-star resort, you won't believe. Like, it's something unreal. There's pictures you'll see, the rooms, AC, the food, the rooms, like it's just unbelievable. In a monastery, have something like this. Like, we should be very proud, Yani, of what Sayyidina did.
This was his vision and his project and everything. Even his own sister, just like Sayyidina's sister, she's always there during conferences and stuff, and she's helping, whether it's in the kitchen or around. She's always accessible. So you truly feel like you're at someone's house. So I think we said all this. Yeah. Okay. So the LYF objectives is 1, to return these youth to their Egyptian and existential. Go ahead.
Ecclesiastical roots.
Yeah, that one. And renew their affliction and connection to these roots. So, yep.
So LYF, just guys, it stands for Logos Youth Forum. Okay, so Logos is just the name of the place. And like we said, the theme of the forum was love. And Sayyidina, also his purpose was, because there's so many youth living outside of Egypt, it was like, it's called Back to the Roots. So the purpose, what Sayyidina wanted to do is he wanted to hear from the youth, their dreams, aspirations, what they're going through outside of Egypt, and any problems they have, challenges and stuff like that, and where the church stands. And we're going to go into more details of how we actually did like seminars and stuff to address these issues. And of course, exchanging experiences between young people from all parishes. We were 200.
Yeah.
We were 200 from over 30 countries.
And 35 dioceses.
And 35 dioceses across the world. So imagine, Yani, all these people with different cultures, different countries, how we all met in one place, back to our home church in Egypt, to just connect and all be one. So it's amazing. Like, we're all over the world, but we have one home and one heart that we went back to.
And the one connection is we're all Coptic youth. So like, he wants to hear our struggles, what we face back home that's different from like Egypt or Europe or whatever. He wanted to listen and see, because he realizes most of his time is spent in Egypt, but his church and his people are all over. So he wants that connection back. And he wants us to reconnect back with him. So this is a video that they actually made from our trip. Wait, how do I stop it?
Is it here?
Okay.
Can open the slogan after.
Yeah. Okay, so this is an idea of the schedule. So like we said, it was like 7, 8 days on in Logos, most of it, but we also went to different places. So this is an idea of the schedule. First of all, they are so well organized in everything they do. They had an app for us with the schedule day to day where you're going to be seating if you have a specific table, or if we're going to a hotel, what your room number is. Like everything is so well organized and thought out. So like one day, this was on the Wednesday, we did a service day. So this day was actually not about us. We went out to Simon's
Saint
house.
Simon's also.
St. Simon's house, which was like 30 minutes from the Deir. And we did a service day with kids from Sudan. And we basically spent the day with them. They had a whole carnival set up with games, activities, inside, outdoors, and gifts for them. So that took up most of the day. And then we went back, we had lunch, and then we had a sermon with Sayyidna. Then on the Thursday,
Yeah, so then on the Thursday, we went to St. Mark's Cathedral in Cairo. Sayyidina, it's newly renovated. So actually the cathedral, if you guys have been in Abbasiyah, it's unbelievable. Sandra can tell you guys, like there's not one spot on the wall that's empty. And Sayyidina did, yeah, there were what, I think 9 different Coptic iconographers that actually did it. Sayyidina said that like it was very hard because they all have different styles. So when they met, how it's gonna blend. So they sat together for like, I think a year to organize it, he said. And it all came, if you look at it, it looks like as if one person did it. It's unbelievable.
Yeah.
It's very beautiful. And then after that, we had an official lunch at the cathedral. So there were supposed to be ministers attending, a lot of ministers, but they had to go to, with the prime minister, they had a meeting that came up, an emergency meeting. So there were a lot of ambassadors. We saw the Canadian ambassador as well. There were a lot of bishops that attended. It was just a really great event. And actually before that was the St. Mina and the Alamein, right?
Yeah. So half the group went to visit the prime minister. I wasn't there.
Yeah, so it was split, the group, and this is really important because I want to tell you guys, this is one of the changes that have happened in Egypt. So on one of the days, they split our group because we were 200. So they split half of us to go to St. Mina's Monastery in Mariut, and the other half to go to New Alamein, the new prime minister's office. Okay, so if you guys heard, they're building a completely new city in Alamein, and it's unbelievable. Like mahma قلت لكم, like don't tell me Europe, don't tell me anywhere. This is something so high class. And we saw the new presidential palace that was like just on the water, on the sea. Unbelievable. So anyways, when we met with the prime minister. So half of us went. I was lucky. I attended the prime minister meeting. So of course the security بقى وبتاع ودخلنا وكده, it was something بقى تحسي ايه ده, what's going on, ومخابرات وناس بتجري وبتاع. And then it was really nice because we went inside the office where they actually have their minister, like the ministers meeting, and everyone in front of them had their name in Arabic. It was like مجلس رئاسة الوزراء, and I was like السيد رامز سمير تورونتو كده. I was like حسيت ان انا وزير بقى. I was like I'm a minister خلاص. And everyone with their name, they had water for us. Like it was really nice. We sat down, we got organized. Sayyidna was with us, the Pope, and Barshalidis too, our new bishop that's coming soon. He was with us for most of the week. He attended this meeting. So what really got my attention, when the prime minister entered, he sat for 10 minutes. He was just talking about how great our Pope is and how lucky we are to have him. Imagine, and I'm talking about Egypt. You guys remember before how things were, the persecution we had. This one, like 10 minutes just telling us, you don't understand how much we respect him, how wise your Pope is, how he saved this country from so many different problems. And me personally, I admire him, and he's a pillar in this country. احنا طبعا قاعدين, يعني no one expected this, because you guys know from media and stuff, everything's so negative about Egypt. But when you're in it, no, there's huge changes, positive changes. And he kept talking, of course, about the vision of the country, how happy he is, how the new immigration minister that took after the minister Nabila Makram, she was there. She was with us. She introduced herself. They talked about projects they want to do with us. And the nicest thing about is everyone asked questions. Like the meeting مثلا was for an hour or even more. Everyone was asking questions. We hear there's problems in Egypt. We hear this, the negative news, and everything was answered very direct and very honestly. And honestly, guys, what I can tell you, do not believe anything on social media, really. Because any negativity, just like Sayyidina said, it's one case out of there's 100 million people in Egypt. One or two cases, what's that in the 100 million? And here we don't have problems anywhere in the world. They don't have problems. As long as things are going positively, and they are, then that's what matters. There's a project, the Haya Karima, if you guys heard about it. It's changing the lives of 60 million Egyptians. The new road, Sandra saw this, the roads in Cairo, the bridge, like there was no traffic. Like I was surprised, like there's no traffic. Yeah, like before ده احنا كنا بنتبهدل and you can't move. So anything negative, you have to see for yourself. It's the country's on a much better pace. The dealings with the church is much better, and this is really all due to Sayyidina, His Holiness Pope Tawadros, because he is very wise. And I saw now why God chose him in this time, really, because no one could be more perfect for his position in this current time. I talked a lot.
No, that was perfect.
But this yani was something that really touched me there. Yeah, yeah. Okay,
Do you want to finish the day?
Okay, and then after that, so after that, there was a huge surprise for us. After we finished the official lunch, they actually got us a private plane to take us to Asyut, just for us. And Sayyidina said this was actually a gift from the aviation minister. شفتوا يعني بقول لكم, this is all from the government.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So Sayyidina's doing the most and everybody's helping him. Like they treated us really well throughout the whole trip. Everything was so thought out. Like we'll show you guys pictures and stuff. Every morning you wake up, you have a mailbox in front of your room with gifts. Like we came back with so many gifts, we didn't have space in our luggage. Like we weren't expecting this. Like we kind of went in not knowing what to expect and a little worried, like, oh, we're in Egypt, oh, we don't know what's gonna happen. It's a big group, international. But like there's so much detail. Everyone has planned this for a year in advance. There's so much thoughtfulness and things in it that like you're just standing there the whole time like amazed. Like you're kind of just trying to take it all in. And you're meeting all these people from different worlds and they're just as amazed as you. Like it's like it exceeds all standards. So yeah, we took the plane to Asyut. We got there late. So Sayyidina actually greeted us at the airport. Sayyidina. I'm very bad with names.
Yeah.
He was at the airport like welcoming us, which was like very thoughtful. It was like 11 p.m. at that point. They had food for us when we got there and then we went to sleep. The next morning we went to do tasbeha in Deir Dronka, which is up in the mountain.
Mhm.
And that was really nice. Everywhere we went, like every monastery or every event or every place, they had such a welcoming atmosphere. And like as well, they thought of everything for us. Like Amba Yuanas gave us all gifts. He sat with us. He gave us a lecture. They took us around. Like it was very nice. And then times or like days we were at Logos, we had speakers come in. So we had Dr. Magdi Yaoub and Magdi Ishet come in and speak to us. Who else came?
And we had Michael. He
Michael,
was an
yeah.
entrepreneur. He's a young Egyptian Coptic businessman.
Yeah, and then we had a lawyer from the States who came in, Mary
Dr.
Bukter.
Mary Bukter.
Yeah. So like even days inside, and then we had like days where they did like a film festival. So imagine like this convention or trip is meant for like 21-year-old to 29. That's usually the age. Sometimes it goes a couple of years younger or older. So like some of us are working adults like 29, 30 years old, and we're doing arts and crafts sometime and you're enjoying it. You're having fun. Like your servants, and some days are super long. Like one day we were up from 8 a.m. all the way to like 4 a.m. We were doing stuff and so you're supposed to be tired, but like the servants there that they pick to be with you, they're encouraging you. They have such good spirits, good atmosphere. It kind of makes you go like, wow, like we're bad servants. And in my eyes, that's what it made me realize. Like their heart is really into it. And like, there's no detail. Like you will never request something and no one will go out of their way to make sure they get it done for you. So that was like the breakdown of the day. So we have some like pictures. So like those were the rooms on the left side.
Yeah. So this is
that was just the opening day gift.
Yes.
So as you can see, there's like 4 shirts, like a water bottle, a portable charger because our days are long, hats, and a backpack, which was meant for when we're traveling to Asyut instead of taking like your full luggage. a towel, and other small things. I can't really see.
Yeah, like usually every day we would wear a different shirt for the event and we would all match. Like if you guys saw pictures, مثلا in the cathedral, we were all wearing like I think it was the
Blue shirt. maybe.
blue shirt and then with like all the yellow caps. So, and Sayyidina was so keen, ask Sandra, to make sure the picture, everyone looked like perfect.
The same.
Like
Had
he
the
would
cap
stand,
on.
and if someone didn't have their cap, he would actually go to the car, get it fast. مش هتتصور من غير, like he wanted everything to be perfect. He's extremely detail oriented, like very, very.
Mhm. That was like an example of the food. They always had like a full buffet for us. That was.
Yeah.
Is that the papal library?
This is the papal library.
Yeah,
Yes.
so this is also on the Logos facility. This is the papal library. This is also where he does his like formal meetings and stuff. Like if you saw pictures, you'll see one with us in the Pope. He did it in there. Um, um, no, it's chicken, grilled chicken, macaron
Guys,
bechamel,
I
mahshi.
kid you not. You know, Wednesday and Fridays we die here, right? Yani there's literally nothing we can eat. I'm not joking. At Logos, we were looking forward to the Wednesdays and Fridays. The food, like they had a professional chef.
Mhm.
Like, see الحاجات اللي احنا, like you would never even think you go to a مؤتمر and talk about the food. Like anything that comes to your head was there. We had for eating.
Even like simple things like there's 200 people in and out of the airports. They provided transportation from the airport to Wadi Natun, and he made sure there was a cop car with every car to go. So like the last night after everyone was leaving, some flights were throughout the middle of the night. So there'll be two people leaving in a car and a cop escort with them to make sure they get there safely. Like
Yeah, we always had a lot of security with us.
yeah, and then
anywhere.
obviously the buses when they were traveling, there was always like 4 cop cars on each side just traveling. When we went to Alexandria, the church, they blocked off the roads because it's a public road, and they had like police both sides, and they escorted us out as if we're treasure walking through the streets. Like
No, the nicest thing was in Cairo when we were going for that official lunch.
oh, I didn't-
The Pope's موكب سيدنا يعني, it was passing by. So he was going to the cathedral. So he came right in front of us. They closed all the Cairo roads, like, and it was like it was a bit busy. So you saw everyone like stop.
Like,
واحنا
stop.
كله ماشي ماشي. Like it was so funny to see that. Like felt like no, we run Egypt now. Yeah, we're royalty.
this is Alamein, right?
Yeah, so you guys see that the top here, this is a cathedral the government is building for us in the new Alamein city. And there's two actually. There's this one. This is named under Saint Marina. And there's also Saint Philobatira and Saint Karas. So any new city the government does now in Egypt, mosque and a church. Under no circumstances. And if you guys see, there's actually a video of President Sisi like screaming at the army man that's in charge of the project. It's like, where's the church? Didn't I say this is an order? And they built it right away. Any news, and this is a cathedral. Like it's not even shown here. It's so big. So any place, mosque and a church and a school. And they're actually doing too the school in the middle. Like residential cities, they're doing the school in the middle, then a church and a mosque. So the children grow up understanding that you accept this is us, this is Egypt. Yani, these are part of the changes we don't hear about, but we saw it in real life.
These are the monasteries and churches we visited. So St. Mark's Church, Alexandria, St. Mark's Cathedral, Cairo, St. Mary's Monastery, Dronka, St. Mary's Moharrak Monastery.
And these places, guys, like Sandra will definitely tell you as well, they're treasure. Like in Moharrak, we went in the church on the altar where the Holy Family and our Lord Jesus Christ stayed 185 days. Just in that area. Like Abuna was telling us, all of in Moharrak, that's so blessed because our Lord grew in it. He was a baby and he was running all over the grounds of the monastery. So imagine we have this treasure. And this monastery is where there's a prophecy in the book of Isaiah. There will be a center, an altar place for me in the midst of Egypt. There in Moharrak, that's exactly like it's actually right in the middle of Egypt, geographically. And this is in the Bible, a prophecy. So, so many blessings we have in Egypt. And they tell you if you go to Al-Maharra 2 times, as if you went to Jerusalem. Like بيقول لك يا مقدس دي نص تقديسة, 1 visit, 2 times انت مقدس كده, as if you went to Jerusalem. Because it's the same, our Lord Jesus Christ lived there and the Holy Family. And Ronka as well. Sayyidina opened for us the cave. The Holy Family stayed there. We went to the cave where Saint Joseph used to stay. So it's so nice, like just to show you and proof as well of the holiness of our Virgin Saint Mary. There was a cave of Saint Joseph where he stayed on the side, and far away on the other side, a cave where Saint Mary used to stay with Jesus, and they lived there as well for a while.
So these places were specifically picked to connect us back to our roots. So as some of the people that came hadn't been to Egypt before. So as a Coptic Christian, this is our history, this is our roots, and he wanted us to connect. Like in the Muharram, there was literally a monk speaking, and he said, anything you pray for today, consider it answered. So imagine like it going and a monk is telling you this. Like it really brought us back and like made us realize like sometimes here we get distracted with work and life and other things that we don't take seriously our service or our church or our own spiritual like well-being. So like this visit and like I think the hopes of it is when we come back we tell other people like go visit our monasteries, go visit our churches. Like we have so much history and so much value that we sometimes miss because we're so distracted with life. So these are like I don't know if they were specifically picked or if they just happened to be the ones picked, but they really like made us reconnect. So then these are some more pictures. So that's Dr. Magdi Yaqub and Magdi is Het. The Pope during the opening ceremony welcoming us. And then that bottom picture is actually a collection of pictures of us. So there was a photo booth, and every time your picture printed, it had a number and you'd place it. So at the beginning, it was a black screen. And once we all placed our pictures throughout the week, it made this. So that in Egypt, I thought was like so cool.
We thought in the beginning there's a problem with the camera, the printing.
Because
I got that picture and I was like, why is it blurred? Why is Atari? It's actually making this picture. Yeah.
Yeah.
And as you guys see, like back to the roots was everywhere. And back to the roots, like Sayyidina was telling us after the sermon, what it means is sometimes when we live in like a country like Canada, we're so far from Egypt, there's a lot of changes that can happen that can make us forget even our faith, I would say sometimes. So back to the roots, how we really have to be connected to our home church in Egypt, no matter where we are. We can't change traditions. We can't change church teachings because we live in another country where, for example, homosexuality is allowed. And we'll talk about this stuff. No, and we can't change anything that we received from the church fathers. So that's why it's called really back to the roots. And actually, this slogan's not going to change. It's always going to be back to the roots. Just the theme would be love, or that would change. So back to the roots. So we always have to be connected. We're part of Egypt. We're not separate. This is our origin. We just live outside. So that's why Sayyidina said when we chose back to the roots, really that was the purpose. You have to stay strong to your faith and to your church and not go along with the culture, but you have your input and effect on the culture you're in, not the other way around.
What language did they do all the meetings in?
كل اللغات اللي تيجي يعني
It was like mostly Arabic, like half and half Arabic English. Liturgies and stuff, they tried to incorporate all the languages, and they'd have people doing readings. But we had a couple of people, someone from Brazil who didn't speak in Arabic. He wasn't actually Egyptian at all. And someone from the Philippines. She spoke a little bit of Arabic, so we just translate with them. Like we'd be sitting together, translating. Yeah.
And
but
Fiji too. We had someone from Fiji.
Yes, and Fiji, yeah. So the monks, obviously, when we went to Dairs and stuff, they would be speaking in Arabic. Sayyidina spoke mostly in Arabic, actually, now that I think about it.
Yeah.
Is it heavy Arabic or like?
The monks sometimes. Like, I don't think I can translate everything word for word.
But in the monastery, they spoke English. Some of them spoke English.
They tried if they could, yeah. It depended on the monk.
Some of them, yeah.
And you were saying that people, like, wasn't just people from Egypt, North America, and Europe. It was truly people from all over.
Yeah, 35 dioceses, so all over. So Philippines, Brazil, Fiji,
all European,
Jerusalem,
a lot of from
Jordan.
Kuwait, Bahrain.
Any what?
Asian countries?
No, no, other than the Philippines.
Oh.
And as you know, like throughout the whole week, Sayyidina's there. He comes to breakfast. He comes to the lectures. He's accessible. Like that was really nice to see because like when he comes and visits like us here, he has like all security and like everyone's like jumping him. You don't really get a moment. So it was really nice for him to be so accessible to us throughout the week and show us that like if you want to sit down and have a conversation or whatever, he's there.
And one day we were having breakfast right like in the front table. Then we were sitting and Sayyidina comes in and he sits on the table right beside us. طبعاً إحنا ماسكين الشوكة. And we're just like, am I dreaming? Like literally just like this and staring at like what? And you would sit and eat and talk with and the youth would get up. Yeah, and one of the days the youth got up like, okay, Sayyidina, sit. Your bed. It's like, no,
You
sit
guys sit
here.
with us.
I want to sit with you. And he sat and ate and talked with them. I mean, this is the Pope of our church. This is the successor of Saint Mark. and how humble he is, how kind he is. And that was after the burning of the churches. Our week that, like they were saying they want, like a lot of people were pushing Sayyidina to cancel this week. Remember in Baba Church and that stuff that was going on? That was right before it by a week. But he said, like this event was already canceled and the tickets and the vacations people took. So out of respect, so you see how Sayyidina respects all his children, the events weren't live. None of the celebrations. The opening ceremony, this stuff was always live usually, but it was all recorded, and then they just started releasing them like a few days ago, out of respect for the families and stuff.
So then these are more pictures. Like this space over here again is all logos. Every day or every time we had an event there, it would be a different look. They had like teams come in, they set up, we had a prayer night one day, they set up like this globe with icons outside. Then we did a Q&A with Sayyidna. They had a desk for him and chairs and stuff. We did the liturgy outside for St. Mary's feast because it was during the week. And then that is Dronka, I believe. Yeah. That is our bishop that's coming soon, inshallah, and our Shalidas.
Took a Toronto picture.
Yeah, and these are the people from Toronto, actually. So me, this is Sandra Wadallah from St. George, Ramez obviously from St. Samuel, and Shadi from St. SMSJ, and then his brother also was with us. Again, like these are things throughout logos, like these things like so light cool. Up when you pass by.
This, it would be turned off. Once you pass by, it turns on. Like there's stuff in Egypt I've never like, and حاسس إن هم like it switched around.
Yeah, they're
like
more
we're
advanced.
Egypt and they're Canada. Way more advanced than here.
They took us. Okay, so that's the service day. That was at St. Simon's house. Again, that was the prayer meeting outside. Look at how they set it up, and then we went on yachts one day just because why not?
This was in Alamein. After the meeting, we all got a yacht. وقعدنا بقى نلف وبتاع.
That's Abuna from. Is that Australia? Is that Abuna Joseph?
This one, that's Abuna Yusuf.
Abuna Yusuf from Egypt, sorry.
He was the
coordinator, yeah. More pictures from the service day. Yeah, it was really nice. That is him by you. So he came to the airport. That's him at the airport welcoming us, and then that's him waving off the buses as we leave. That is Deir al-Muharrab. It's so peaceful in there. It's all trees and like you just hear birds, and it's unreal. Yeah. And
guys, the pictures don't even do this good. Like being in it, like I'm watching the pictures now.
It's not.
I was like, this is not what we were. Yeah, and you actually have to really go and just experience this.
Okay, so another part of this was Sayyidna split us into groups. So before we went, they asked us to pick a topic we'd be interested in. And he had us basically hold seminars in our group. And we had to present to him on the last day based on these topics. So if you had relationships, so my topic was relationships, we went to Sayyidna and in our groups, we spoke, what are the challenges in your culture or in your area where you live? What is the church doing about it? What do you think the church should do about it? And he wanted to hear, as the future generations are coming up, what are the struggles we face? So like for us, I think across all like dioceses and cultures, we said a struggle is the church doesn't really talk about or address dating necessarily. It's kind of more like a marriage prep course. And at that point, you're already engaged to be married. So we said younger generations and like high schoolers and stuff don't really know how to date, or when they're dating, they kind of don't know what's allowed and what's not per se, because they know that the church just says like, say, no sex before marriage, but they don't necessarily understand why or agree with it. So they'll just still do it. So we said the church has to be having these conversations earlier on. Parents have to address the dating and whatnot. Then the same with family issues. So each group kind of said what they think the church should do. So for relationships, we said we should have a dating course or like a committee that kind of talks to parents and gives them resources, because the schools are now teaching sex ed early on. So the church should address it first. Or like resources for parents on what they should be telling their kids and whatnot. And then which one were you?
So I was youth and family issues. And like Sandra said, like we had so many different, I don't know how to say it, like اقتراحات for, yeah, exactly. Resolutions for these topics. And what's nice actually is Sayyidna, we presented these topics with the resolutions. We had like a Holy Synod meeting actually. We sat in the same place the Holy Synod sits. Sayyidna sat in the very back, the last row. He said, and all the priests sat back and he said, this is you. You're the Holy Synod now. I want to hear from you. I want to hear from the youth what your ideas are. I want to understand how you think outside. And we sat, that was like, what, 2 hours maybe?
It was a 2 hour.
That was a long time. Sayyidina was sitting and concentrating and listening. So every group presented. We had 2 representatives for each of these topics. They presented. Sayyidina said they would ask questions at the end. Thank you. At the end, it's not just going to take it or it's a show. Okay, good job, guys. This is actually going to be presented, the resolutions we gave, to the Holy Synod when they meet next time. And some of these resolutions, of course, the church will see in its wisdom and through the guidance of the Holy Spirit if they will work, and if they will actually implement them. So it's not just kida practice or something. Sayyidina is actually very serious to hear his children, the youth, and how they think, and to get ideas from them. And we even signed, just like the Holy Synod, all of us, the official document of the resolution, to make sure we all agree to it before it gets presented. If one of us didn't agree, it wouldn't get presented, because they said in the Holy Synod, anything they take, any decision has to be like unanimous, everyone. Yeah, exactly. So
and if Sayyidina didn't agree with what we'd say, or like questioned it, he would tell us like right away over there. We'd have discussions with him, like, oh, what do you think? Like I remember one of the things I thought was really good was, I think it was the group of family issues. Correct me if I'm wrong. They were saying newcomers, and when they switch churches or go to a new country or new church, sometimes they're unaware of the resources or something. So the idea was like to have this website that's like a master like list of every church in every area. So if you're moving, say, from Toronto to Florida or something, you know what churches are in Florida, and each church has its website with a link to its resources for newcomers, what the programs are, what support they have, whatnot. And then even before you get to Florida, you can contact the priest there. Like there'd be a contact information. You can ask your questions. You can pick if there's multiple churches, see what each church has to offer and where you think you'd be a better fit or whatnot. So that was really cool. It's like basically a website that people would go for resources.
And even it's going to include the rules of each country regarding this topic. So family issues, because I think
or just like simple things like banking tips and stuff, like if you're switching, like, so just helping newcomers in general so that they adjust not only to the new lifestyle, but find a church that they can connect and keep their religion and stuff. Yes.
What's a Holy Synod?
Synod is it's like the judging committee, basically.
No, this is like it's the Pope. The Pope is the like head of it, and all the bishops in the church.
They basically make the rules.
So the Holy Synod is like just all of the bishops together.
No, not all. I think it's select.
No, the Holy Synod is all. Holy Synod is all bishops. But within the Holy Synod, they have different sectors. So there's a group in charge of church rights and traditions, a group family issues. But so the Holy Synod is all the bishops are part of the Holy Synod. So when they meet to take a decree, they all take it together.
Are they the bishops of Egypt or bishops like
any bishop in the church? Any bishop in the Coptic church is part of the Holy Synod. And when they meet, every single bishop in the world has to be present. Unless for health reason, of course, then they do on Zoom. But the Holy Synod is comprised of every single bishop in the world, wherever they are. Yeah, exactly. But then there's, I think, 125 members. Yeah, so that's all the bishops.
So like things like when COVID happened and they changed the way we took communion, they had to agree on that.
And it was unanimous.
Okay, to that point about communion, the Holy Synod didn't agree, because I asked Abuna.
Oh, wow.
I asked Abuna, and the Holy Synod didn't agree, and they released a decree saying that this is against the church rights and we not. But he said in Canada, it was different because your government, they said, which wasn't the case. And to be honest, I didn't hear anything the government say. But anyways, let's not go into that. But yeah, regardless, it's fine. But the bottom line is we should really hold on to our faith. Shouldn't be changing anything. And Abuna said clearly when I asked him, the Holy Synod replied saying, we do not agree with this and this should not be done. It was done in your case because of the government. Let's not go into it, but it was done anyways. So regardless, anything that happens in the world, wherever it is, has to be according to the Holy Synod, what they say and what they agree on. Or else anyone can come up with any idea and make changes.
In their church. Yeah.
And then in their church, and then every church will be doing something completely different. So it shouldn't be the case. That's why again, back to the roots. We said anything, we go back to our mother church, we follow what the Pope and what the bishops guide us to do.
Okay, that's us with the Pope.
Yeah.
That's actually the monastery where they stayed. That's the altar.
The Holy Family.
I can't recall. Which
This
one.
is St. Mark's Cathedral. This is the oldest church in the world, actually. This was St. Mark's home. And this was where the Last Supper was done. Yeah. Like imagine guys, we have this treasures, really. It's unbelievable.
Like they built
So like this is the actual place. So of course throughout the years it got renovated. Yeah, in Alexandria. Sorry, the St. Mark's, it was the first church when he came to Egypt. Sorry, yes, not the Last Supper. عشان احنا دخلنا في Jerusalem recently.
Sorry.
They were posting pictures in Jerusalem and stuff, so I messed up. Sorry. Alexandria, this is the first church when St. Mark's came to Egypt that was initiated. Yes.
Okay, so this is our final slide, I
You
promise.
read this, but it's really
So
nice.
one of the girls after the trip, she posted an Instagram post and I thought it was really nice and it summed it up. So I'm just gonna read it. So like we said, love was the theme. So love never fails. Baba taught us that Christ demonstrated the 5 love language in his service. Likewise, he made sure that we were shown love through all 5 love languages daily. Quality time. Baba made sure we each had quality time with him several times throughout the day. Acts of service. The clergy, servants, group leaders knew us so well, too well, before we even arrived. They spent a full year planning for this forum. I learned so much from their love and zeal for service. Gift giving. It was Christmas every day on this forum. Luggage was overflowing with gifts. Words of affirmation. Baba, the clergy, the servants, team leaders, and the participants, everyone saw the good in each other at this forum and made it known to one another. Physical touch. Hugs, lots of hugs. Like LOL, 200 strangers became one big family within a week. We're inseparable now. So whatever our love language, they spoke it so that we can learn to serve as Christ did in love. Quite honestly, I don't even think we knew how to properly thank the team of clergy, servants, group leaders for their efforts, but I'm sure God will reward them with exceedingly abundantly above all their heart desires according to his will. So like that honestly summed it up very well. First of all, I don't know if you noticed she calls the Pope Baba because he told us like call him that. That's what he wanted us to call him. So that was very nice. They went above and beyond. Like their service is true service in my eyes. Ours is just subpar. So we can all learn something. And when she says like 200 strangers truly became family, like you went in not really knowing anyone. Like even Ramez and I, we knew each other when we were younger, but we had lost touch over the years. But you went in and no one knew each other, and they were all so welcoming, so friendly. Like you got to know each other. You spent so much time together. Some of the bus rides we did, bus drive back from Mascouche, you spent 7 hours in a bus with these people. Like they truly became family, and they all taught us something. And overall, the purpose of this forum is successful in that like you can go and you come out like genuinely touched and wanting to like serve and be better. Like that's what I took out of it. Like I've always loved Egypt. I've always loved going to Egypt, visiting the monasteries and stuff. But like I came out of this thing like even though I'm far and I have a job and I'm busy and I'm chaotic, like true service is sacrifice. Like these people spent a year planning. Some of them are in school, some of them are working, and they still took the time. When she says they knew us before we got there, we got off the bus, they knew us by name. They asked us how our jobs were, if we just finished exams, how it was. Like they knew us and we were strangers to them. So that's what it taught me personally. Sorry, I rambled.
Guys, honestly, we forgot the most important thing to mention. The mango. Ya nahar abyad. The mango, like they had fresh mango for us. I'm not even joking. How did I forget this? I have never, اللي احنا بناكله هنا ده, or
Water.
drink here, it's powder. Like it has nothing to do or any relation with the mango. Like every morning.
Yes,
والبطيخ.
was good. Everything was
خلاص
good.
بقى ما تفكرناش بالحاجة. Fresh fruits بقى هناك, لا بس the mango specifically unbelievable. Fresh juice و actual mango بقى لا يعني the mango that's what I know now.
To sum up, this happens every other year. So he does Egypt internally every other year. So this year was international. Next year is Egypt internally. The year after, so 2024, is going to be international again. I would highly suggest applying and going if you get the opportunity to, because you will learn a lot.
And it doesn't end there. Like we're going next year for service week.
Yeah, so
To
they try to
Egypt.
keep us connected and
Yeah.
stuff.
And actually we've been doing so many calls
Oh yeah,
video
we're still doing like video calls with them and stuff like.
messages 24/7. صبح بالليل, they're sending messages. So it's actually like one family, like so weird. Like 1 week, like Sandra said, or a few hours together, and everyone is like a family. And this is the love, like this is the love that of Christ that binds us. And then imagine, like from all these countries around the world, you know people now. Like it's a very nice feeling.
That's all we have to say.
We tried to يعني summarize it for you, so there's so much more we can honestly say.
Thank you so much, Sandra. Thank you so much, Ramez, for being live. And on this note, I think that we are planning or we're thinking that the next trip or